Let's have a look at the meeting at Tabcorp Park, Menangle on Saturday night. Chairman of Stewards Graham Locker's with us. Graham, 8 races on the card. The first event was taken out by the King of Swing for Michael Formosa.
Yes, it was quite a dominant performance in smart time, Greg. I think the important thing here is that there was a change of tactics which would have or should have given punters an inclination to Michael Formosa's mindset anyway.
What about race number 2, Darren Hancock and Jack Trainer combining with Melalin?
Yeah, similarly here, Melalin's a horse that's probably racing in slightly higher company without luck. A better draw on Saturday night. Mr Hancock signalled his intentions with another change of tactics to be further forward. There are a couple of horses back in the field with the bigger field at Menangle on Saturday night that probably ran on late in McArdle's Chance and Uncle Lyle, both very acceptable performances.
Also Steve Turnbull, who drove the Kissing Bandit in race 2.
Yeah, an incident inside the 200 metres. Steve bent down to release gear, and as he did so, the horse shifted out abruptly, and that resulted in Blackberry Lane being tightened for room and eventually galloping. Steve pleaded guilty to a charge of carelessness and was suspended for a period of 10 days.
In race number 3, we saw Noah Saint successful for Paul and Gavin Fitzpatrick.
Yes, look, it was a good positive drive again. The feature of the race, probably late as the hard luck stories, there were a number of runners which didn't see daylight in the race. Major Step, Highview Ember leading Lavros, Brad Hewitt's horse Trial by Jury, and even Get In Behind late in the race started to hit the line. So that's the stories out of that.
Okay, race number 4. Now, this was Our Smart Caesar taking out the race for Kerry Ann Turner and Cameron Jones. Big field, and the horses off the back row Quinella-ing the race. Yeah,
look, it was you could say it was a good drive by Cameron Jones and Daniel Morgan. They took the opportunity. They're probably thankful that He's a Rooster commenced to give ground in the vicinity of the 500 metres, and as a result they benefited from gaining clear running, which they may not have received otherwise, but a good result for those two stables. He's a Rooster did bleed, and he's out of action now for 3 months.
In race number 5, the first of James Rattray's double, this one was with Roger Ramjet.
Yeah, just another positive drive on Roger Ramjet. Dominated the race from the front. The other horse that probably was unlucky, took a while to find clear running in the straight, was I'm El Diablo.
What about race number 6, the feature event of the night, Modern Ruler, and wins again in that top company?
Yes, he's a very consistent horse, Modern Ruler. He's going to start developing a following like his better performed stablemate if he keeps this up, and I guess at this point in time we haven't exactly seen what his limits are. I'm Mr Brightside, no clear run at a vital stage, and arguably he's a question mark out of the race.
What about Real Intentions in race number 7? Nathan Turnbull driving for his father Steve and getting the run on the inside.
Well, I guess it was payback really. If we go back to the previous race, Nathan's horse kept a straight line in the straight, and as a result Steve on Real Intentions didn't see daylight. Went to the line hard held, and we reported he hadn't been fully tested. On this occasion Nathan's able to obtain clear running himself and get the job done. When the horse saw daylight, it was quite aggressive in the way that it took the run, and we did question Nathan Turnbull subsequent to the race in relation to his driving style, and he was found guilty of a charge and fined $100 for having his body protruding outside the sulky.
There's a little bit of that going on in New South Wales at the moment, and obviously outside the rules.
Well, Greg, I wouldn't say we condoned it, but it was apparent at the last Stewards conference that New South Wales was the only state in which it was occurring. And we had a small group of young drivers, probably no more than 8 or 10, who were driving in that manner, and one would have to say successfully. The arguments put to the stewards were that they were driving in American carts, and therefore there was an argument to drive like the Americans. We discussed it with our fellow stewards who put a case to us that they saw it as a safety issue with drivers outside the cart. And I think there was an incident at Penrith a couple of weeks ago now where Chris Geary was contacted by a horse that charged up onto his back, took control briefly, and if Chris had been out the back of the cart as he might have been previously, then it could have led to issues. Our argument against that is we think there should be uniformity as far as the Australian states are concerned. And whilst, there's probably some arguments for it at the bigger tracks, Menangle, Bathurst, Newcastle, Goulburn, we've got to apply the same rules with the same criteria and consistency at Parkes and Albury and Forbes and Wagga. Forbes, Wagga and Albury, which are the smaller tracks. And that being the case, there's an argument there to say that it's a practice that we shouldn't condone.
What about Sir Donaldson winning the last race on Saturday night?
Yeah, look, he's was bomb-proof in the run, I guess you'd say, and that's won him the race. Arguably, Earl of Clevedon looked to have be the horse to beat, galloped under pressure halfway down the straight, and as we know in trotting events, the horse that trots to the finish, generally speaking, is the winner. You've got to complete the race.
Overall, a pretty quiet night for the stewards?
Yes, we've had busier ones, and I think considering the drivers, we're seeing 12-horse fields for the first time, most of them, and we had a mixture of Newcastle-based horses, we had Bathurst horses, we've had horses returning to Queensland and some junior drivers, the Daniel Morgans of the world and so forth. It was a good night.
We'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, Greg.